you have no speed control on diagonals or wherever you are, it's very difficult to go through the changes with control. So our big thing in our training is control. So we do a lot of exercise, like weighting exercise, only control exercises. Speed control, which is a word probably most of your trainers don't use, is a very important tool, a very mighty weapon that you have to get control over a horse that's 700 or 800 or 600 kilos with energy like an atomic bomb. So you have to play with his mind, you have to play with his possibilities, you have to play mainly actually with the mind, which gives you the absolute power that you can steer a mighty horse like that. So what we do a lot of times on those diagonals, we do transitions, walk, canter, and canter walk again, and canter left, and canter right. Sometimes we make a halt and we rein back a little bit. That's the camera over there in the corner.
That's that.
Okay. Anky, you feel on diagonal that you're still running, I guess? So at home we take a lot of time for that. We don't have enough time here to make the training totally perfect, but we'll show you a lot of the problems that we also have, like every other person here, and the way we handle our problems, or try to handle our problems. Probably the outcome at the end of this session will not be perfect, but at least you can see what we're trying to do to get it better. Anky, how is he feeling now? He's still...
Yeah, he's still very willing to go, but he relaxes a little better, so I could even do my 2 tempies. It's very nice that he's like this, because you don't really never have to give a lot of aid. The only thing is that I have to sit very quiet, and this side is more fast than on the other side. So I make him wait, and I put a little leg, and a little leg, and a little leg. That.
So we cannot write these changes yet on the normal powerful expression that we normally would take. So what we have to do is, in this situation with him, is that we do a lot of changes. I don't know really how to say it in English, and correct English, but I want to call it under the quality that he actually has. Because we're totally busy all the time with speed control. But that means if you take the speed away that he's constantly taking away from you, of course, you have less quality. But you have to be able to do it. Otherwise, you never will get to a performance that you're able to ride your horses, even on a hot horse, that you can ride your horses forward, that are waiting on you, and waiting in a way that you are able to ride them forward, and then it will be a controllable forward impulsion. Okay, we started fiddling with this a couple of weeks ago, so we're not able to do them on a diagonal yet, because we first want to wait until he does the 4 3s and 2s totally under control and relaxed. And so we fiddle a little bit with the single flying changes on the long track, and wait patiently and take our time to get it all better. You see, then he goes fast and fast, and he starts pulling on her a little bit, and her control is totally gone. So we quit, we stop with the changes, then get back control, do a couple of small tests that he is, when we want to go slow, that he can slow down immediately, and then we try a couple of changes again. But we don't force it. If he stops after 5 or 6, or because of the control that you're losing, then we just leave it like that. We get back control and we do a couple more. I mean, normally we wouldn't do it at this given point. We would do it later in the training. But we just want to show you tonight also that most of the problems that you see here, you also have to deal with probably every day, and so that you get an idea about how we attack those problems. So what we do a lot of times actually in training also is that we do a lot of walking in between. Always try to make him longer in the frame, and that he will follow the rein a little bit, because he's tense now, he doesn't do it that good. Actually, the youngest in the group today did the best, the mare. That gives you some time also when you walk to think about the things that you have done the last couple of minutes, if you were in sync with your horse, if everything is going well, if you have to correct something, if you have to repeat something, and gives the horse the opportunity to get some more, get a regular breath back again, and relax a little bit and stretch his muscles. Okay, normally this walking session also would be longer, but we do everything in a short version. What do you want to do, Anky? You want to ride some transitions in the trot?
Yeah, I would like to do some transitions and trot, put him a little bit more up in the competition position, and then I want to play a little bit with the half passes, that we can see that we can make him sharper and more forward or less forward. First, I want him to, he's camera shy. He's not a big movie star yet, I think. First, it's very important what I keep doing is the transitions back, but although he is very willing to go forward, as I said earlier, it's very important to keep him in front of the leg anyway, that when I touch him with the leg, that he immediately goes. Oh, not Sjef, the horse. So, and then I want to put him up more in the position of the competition, but I do want to have a little loop in my rein all the time. I never want to hold my horse back, only to really slow him down to make a transition back.
Anky says a loop, but she doesn't mean a real loop. She does mean a very, very light connection to the bit. Not a visible loop, but for her feeling it's probably a loop.
Whatever.
All the crap those trainers tell.
I thought I had a loop. No, but I keep practicing. But anyway, I just want to have the feeling that I don't really have a lot of connection. It can be yeah, just a little bit. Of course, you never have not really anything. You can have nothing for 2 seconds, but it won't take much longer. But he has to stay in front of the leg, and then I want to be, at least, maybe I don't have a loop, but I want to be very soft.
Salinero is only 8, so he became 8 this year. Actually, he still hasn't had his official birthday yet, but since we are counting since a couple of years now that from the 1st of January on, everybody gets 1 year older, not we, but the horses. It's he's 8. So he has done. We got him a couple of weeks before we head out for Sydney. He couldn't do too much. He had almost no experience. He had only, I think, 1 or 2 shows done in his life. So he was at that time 6th, and we started competing with him last year in the summer, but he only did do a couple of shows until now. So he's a very, what we call a green horse, almost no experience. So that it can happen like stuff like what happened in the show, the Mechelen show in Belgium with Christmas, that he's a little bit like Bonfire. He has a small heart, he is very afraid of everything. So we also have to give Anky another time to have him get used to the area, to the arena, to all the circumstances that are totally strange and fearful for him. So, but he's very hot from the inside. He is afraid, like I said, he has a little heart, but there's a volcano underneath. We will show you later some parts of the volcano. I hope we can still able to manage it.
Cool.
And so Anky will absolutely take the time to warm him up and ride him a little deep in the beginning. And so there's no time yet for him that he can stretch and get longer, because you won't see it if you look at him from the outside. It is right, but I know him very good. He is, now at the moment, he's very hot from the inside. I didn't finish my story about the show in Mechelen. He was so afraid the first test, again from the arena, big crowds, and in Belgium there always are very loud circumstances. He became one of the last, and he had a 58%, I think. So it was not a 45 or 1.5, but pretty close. And then the day after, he wins with 74. And then, because she took him, there were 2 days in between the squeezing leg to just get him a little more dull again to the leg aids. Okay, working periods are one of the most fantastic exercises you can ride and train with your horses, because there's so many possibilities. You can play with your bendings, you can play with your flexions of the neck, flexions of the body, you can play with rhythm, you can play with a lot of haunches or little haunches. You can vary it from shoulder forward immediately into a haunches in or working period again. You can play with rhythm, quick rhythm, slow rhythm, or normal rhythm, whatever. So Anky will show several of those variations that you can do. So first we're going to make it a little bigger. The preparing is always a shoulder 4, but don't use shoulder 4 too often in circles. Many teachers teach sort of leg yield in a circle. For me, that's almost like killing somebody. It's one of those sins that are totally forbidden, at least in the way we train, because a lot of trainers exaggerate it, and what you're going to have is before you even can breathe, you have a crooked horse, and you have a horse that is totally unbalanced in the circle. So okay, we start again. I was talking too much. So we start always with a little shoulder 4. Do that again. We can do it on the right way now.
Oh.
Okay, and then you start a little bigger, and we're going to play a little bit with the rhythm. So a little shoulder 4 as preparing. So make always sure that when you do lateral movements, that the shoulder is always leading. That's the one that the front of the horse is the guide, is the one that steers the direction. So the forehead is always leading in the lateral movement. I mean, in your training, you can vary it with that also. But when you're preparing for tests and do test movements, you always make sure that your preparing is 200%. If your preparing is good, then the exercise is already written for 75%. So in the meantime, Anky is showing some slower and some quicker rhythms. So this is too slow, make them a lot quicker now. So you make them a little deeper and quicker, much quicker. Come. Okay, get them a little longer, and you can help a little bit with that. Once he's already in the haunches, then you can do it with 2 legs. You have to do that one more time. We're still not quick enough. So your working periods have to be perfect, even when you make them really small, like only 2 or 3 meters. You have to be able at the end, when your horse is almost finished, to play with the rhythm, even in the smaller ones. So that gives you, at the end, it gives you the absolute power of that you can steer and guide and dictate the rhythm, even in the small periods in the test. If they're getting a little bit on the slow side, in the middle of the period, you're even trained to accelerate, to speed up the rhythm again. And that's of course the ultimate, that you are able to handle very difficult situations like that. Okay, Anky, so make him again bigger, and let's make him again quicker. So, quicker, quicker. You can be quicker than that. Good, now he's quick. Okay, we'll slow him down a little bit, but keep the bending the same. Sit a little more to the outside. Not too slow, keep the same circle. Okay, make them bigger again. 2 legs. Don't let them fall to the inside. 2 legs. Again. Quicker. There you go. Okay, then relax. As soon as he does do what you want, relax. Sit back and enjoy the ride and let him do the work. He's 700 kilos. He has a lot of energy and power, so he can do that easily for you. You don't need to help him anymore. You just push the right buttons, you put him in a certain movement or speed or rhythm, and then you sit back. Let him do the job. As soon as you feel there's any difference in it, in rhythm or whatever, you immediately correct that and tell him, okay, this is what I want. And immediately when you touch that point again, sit back again and don't help him at all. Let him do the job and just sit there and follow the movement of the horse as good as possible. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to play a little bit still with the canter work. So Salinero, as his name, can do already the 4s and 3s, of course, otherwise he wouldn't have done the small tour test. But we're working also with him already a little bit towards Grand Prix movements. So at the end of this session, we will show also some passage and piaffe. And we're going to do now, we're going to work a little bit towards the changes. But he's very hard at diagonals a lot of times. So we play where we're doing the changes. Sometimes we do them on the long side. Sometimes we take them a little bit on the second or third track.
Prepare for a half pass, bend them to the right, make them hollow of my right leg. And then when my left leg goes backwards, then I start to do the half pass. A little bit forward still.
So we're going to play a little bit also with the angle of the half passes. So we're going to make some less steep ones, which we're going to ride more fluidly forward, like in the piece in George. We have also some wiggling exercises in between. You watch always carefully what Anky is doing. You will see a million transitions that you're actually not supposed to see. But if you watch carefully, that's what we also do in tests, especially with horses like this, that you do a lot of transitions which are not visible, but you're testing constantly during your test through the transitions that are not visible, the obedience and the trueness of the horse. And also you do your preparings for your exercise. The preparings, like I said before, are very, very important, even more important than the exercise, because the exercise will be easy if your preparing is 100%. And your preparing has not to be only 1%, it has to be 120%. So there's also a little bit of danger of horses like this if you, at the end of your training or at the end when they get older, you have to get them again really in front of your leg, because they have so much impulsion and they go so on the natural forward inside feeling they have, that sometimes when you're not really concentrated or that you're just sitting there but not really aware of the aids that you're giving, that sometimes even a horse like this can get a little slow start in the transition, for instance, from the walk to the trot. So you always have to be careful that if you want to turn on the engine at the end of the volcano that I mentioned before, you only can turn that again up by getting them really in front of your legs again. So Anky is playing in the meantime with the steepness and fluidity of the half pass. Also Anky ride one really forward now. That's what we also do quite often in our training. If the horses have the quality to do it, that we ride some real forward half pass. You can do much better than that. You can go more forward. Okay. And slow them down again a little bit, and also the other way. And also play a little more with your shoulder ends. One of the most important exercises we have in horse riding. Okay, that's a good preparing. Because you want to go on a very fluid one, so very forward, more than that. So you don't want to bend them too much. You just play with the impulsion.
Good.
She's losing the control a little bit because of the forward riding, but then she made 2 or 3 waving exercises on the short side. Okay, now we'll make a steep one, but make it more forward. Steep and forward. Okay, good. Better. Okay, we do one more to the right, and then the half passes are finished. Then you can do a couple more shoulder ends. So you have to, the transition from walk to trot, Anky, you have to do it a little, you can use the leg now a little more. So with this horse, it's still in the situation that if you do it a little bit too much leg, then he's already again on the edgy side. You get almost too much tension again. So you have to be, it's very difficult to adjust that. When do I have to give a stronger aid? When do I have to give no aid? When do I have to give a subtle little aid? Or when do I go and have very rapid transitions in a row to make him very concentrated on me? So the whole, what Anky just used to slow him down was actually not correct. Because if the horse is getting tense like he is getting now again, because of the riding forward again, you should know to say, and of course you get a little bit angry deep inside because he's running and he's not listening to your half halt. You will say automatically ho. But what you're supposed to say is whoa, because he's the hoe already. So you have to, your voice has to be used in a very soft way. Because if you say ho, he gets tense. So your voice has to be is the tool you can use to make him again really concentrated on you and to settle them down a little bit. Okay, we work a little more on those transitions from the halt to the trot and from the walk to the trot. And, okay, make them a little run and then you go. So now a couple of those transitions in a row. Halt or walk and go back immediately in a very forward trot off your leg. Halt or walk, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Go. Oh, okay, there you took already much better off with the hind leg. So the first reaction actually has to be in the hind leg and not in the front leg. If you want, a lot of horses go from a halt or walk to a trot. Their first move in front leg instead of a hind leg. Horse that's on the 8s will automatically go rapidly from behind to the front, so he starts in his hind leg. Okay. So now leave the transitions. People have seen already that he can do those transitions really well. So first make him relax a little bit. Give him a little long rein. Trot a little bit slow on a circle. Try to do some stretching exercises and waiting at the same time, which is difficult. Slow. So that's what we do a lot in between the training. We play also a lot with the frame. We sometimes ride them very round and deep. Sometimes we ride them in between very long and make him stretch again, much longer than now, but you cannot let really go because he's still in the running mood. So, but then we take our time for that. So the time tonight is too short, but if it would be like this, we would take at least 5 to 10 minutes to go on a circle and trot in a very relaxed way until it gets really, say, in a very neutral way of thinking and balanced again in his mind and not in the running mood anymore. So that would give you the control back again, and then you can pick up the reins and start doing some more exercise again. So, but now we'll spend a little more attention to this. We take a couple of minutes to get it a little better done, because we also want to show at the end a little bit of Passage and Piaffe, the possibilities that he has. Take a couple more minutes, Anky.
Oh.
We have time enough.
I think it needs a couple more hours.
Yeah, but if people can see that you see that every minute it gets a little bit better, then you get the whole idea already. You get the idea already that it functions and that it will get every minute better. So and also you can hear his breathing, that it's not that tense anymore, is more relaxed now also in the way he's breathing. You always have to listen very carefully what he's trying to tell you. So the way he's breathing, is he still tense? Is he breathing normal again? Is he breathing superficial, or is he starting to breathe deeper again? What is he doing with his ears? Is he paying a lot of attention to you? If not, then you can talk to him a little bit, or you do some couple of very tiny transitions to get his concentration and attention back again, but not at this moment. This is a waiting moment. You have to sit there and relax and play with him until he finds back his relaxation again. Also go on the other way. Okay. We will not get him to where we want to have him anyway tonight, concerning the relaxation. So you can pick up the reins. And first of all, I want to have you pick up the canter again for 2 minutes and show us a couple of medium and extended canters. Get used to the circumstances and everything that he didn't see too often before in his life. So she did do that 2 times in a row, and in the evening, the second day at the test, he won. And so that can happen with a horse like this, with not enough experience, and because he is very sensitive, he will react very extreme to switching circumstances. Anky, is your thing working, your mic? Can you tell about the people what I explained already, that he is hot now and looking and stuff like that, but what you really feel how he is at the moment?
Now, for my feeling, he's very nervous. In the warming up, he was actually quite good, but in here it's a little bit more exciting. I'm making a lot of transitions to get his concentration and to try to calm him down. And I also do already some movements so that he has to start to think about me instead of getting worried about everything else that is going to happen. So what I try every time, I try to slow him down, because for my feeling he really wants to run away all the time. So I make a lot of transitions back and I try to make him wait. Oh.
So that's what we do a lot actually. She mentioned the word already, make them wait. What we, especially with horses like this, with Bonfire, this one, Joker, and all the horses that we have that are on the hot side, we do what we call a lot of waiting exercises. So that means that you put him in a certain speed that's actually slower than the speed he wants to be in. And we try to give as much strain as possible in between, so that even if you throw the reins away, that he doesn't speed up. And you keep continuing and repeating that until you can give him total reins and even let him get back longer again, and that he doesn't run away from you anymore, and that he is all the time waiting for you. The second thing that we start doing already earlier that we normally would do is doing some lateral movement, because he's very hot and very sensitive to the leg in the beginning. You can hardly touch him. So we start a little earlier on purpose to ride some lateral movements so that we can work a little more with our legs against his body. Like I said, with the young horse, we don't work with aids that we keep repeating. We do that all the time. I'm standing here. But this is actually the other way around. If you have a hot horse that cannot stand the legs, you ride with a lot of lag. You teach him to accept a lot of lag, even too much lag. And by the time you want to make him a little dull to the lag aids. Sounds a little totally the opposite that I said before, which actually is true. But with a hot horse that doesn't accept the legs or cannot stand the legs at the beginning, you make him dull to the lag aids, and after that you make him sensitive again to the leg, which is very easy to do to pick up again. And with a dull horse that doesn't want to move forward at all from the legs, or not enough from the legs, you're going to make him go without legs or just little legs, which is also very difficult. But this is also very difficult, that you have to have the patience to do all those waiting exercises and take your time to give the horse the time to relax, and that you do a lot of exercises that he gets used to your legs, and that he will accept the leg, and then you can sharpen him up again and make him sensitive again to the leg. Which Anky loves riding these horses because of their natural go. She loves the horses that go a lot forward by themselves, and that you're able to ride a lot with your feeling and your technique. Is that right, Anky? She's so concentrated she didn't hear what I was saying, maybe.
Oh.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, that I like to ride with a lot of horses that are really willing to go. It's not easy to talk at this moment, because for my feeling I'm very concentrated on him to see what he does. I don't know if it looks like what it feels like, but it feels like he really wants to do too much all the time. And to be honest, I'm a little bit lazy rider. I love horses that want to do too much, because then you only have to slow them down and let them relax a little, and then they will do all the work for you. And I think in dressage it's very good to have horses like this, because at the end, Bonfire was like this as well, but at the end it's so much more easy to have a horse that wants to keep going, especially if you're going to ride Grand Prix and you have, like, for instance, Rome or Sydney, where it can get very hot, and then the tests are very heavy, and it's very nice to have a horse that keeps going even the last day.
So what we also then do in the beginning in Canada is a lot of what she's doing right now, what we call working pirouettes. Also one of the exercises again that has two functions. That first of all is to train the working pirouette, and secondly is to do the training with your legs, that you can use a lot of leg against the horse. Now, a couple of medium and extended canters. So we do a little more of collected canter, and in between a few medium and one extended. problems you see tonight are the problems that you will have with a very talented horse, but a hot horse, with lots and lots of energy, and a lot of it is not controllable the way you want it yet. But you better have a horse like that that's too hot and wants to do too much, as a horse that doesn't want to go for you. Okay, next long side you can do a little more.
That's a very nice transition, huh?
Yeah, I was trying to look in the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, let him go. He cannot go anywhere.
Oh, I think that he can go a little bit
Okay,
further than what you think.
go back to collected canter again.
Oh, that. Ah.
Okay, so now work on the canter, leave him like that. Just let him canter until he relaxes also with this. And then we go back to the trot and try a little bit of passage here.
Oh. Ah.
Okay, good. What you could do now also as an exercise again is to settle him down a little bit, go back to your working period and let him make some real slow working periods. You better do that, Anky, yes, show it. Some too slow actually, and even if you don't have a perfect rhythm, doesn't matter. You just want to do a slow, too slow actually, working period, so that his quickness of the rhythm that he wants to keep, you're going to do on the opposite side. So you now on purposely make everything way too slow. And even if there's no impulsion, who cares? So when he does do that, then you go back on a circle again and test if the rhythm and the speed control is again back. So do that again, Anky. Go on a... So now you go working period to the right, and then you go back to a normal circle, just regular collected canter. After it's just a test if he's still running on you and if he wants to stay in a slower rhythm. Okay, let him do like that. Impulsion is not on a circle, yield in the circle. And then slow him down a little bit. Okay, he's much more relaxed now. He's not running anymore. He's less quick as he was before. Okay, give him a little walk, a little bit of a walk, and then we do some piaffe. So everybody could see that in 2 minutes, just doing that exercise, the rhythm of the horse was slower and he didn't want to run that much anymore. Okay, for passage and piaffe, I will give Anky the whip. Although you think you don't need it right now. You also can try with her.
Oh, is that? Oh, try it.
Yeah, start on the short side. He's watching the camera the whole time. On the long side even, doesn't matter. Okay, and trot. Very good. So this is one of those horses that has a natural talent for piaffe. So because we didn't start too long ago on passage and piaffe. And he picks it up very rapidly. The next time we can make him a little quicker. Even more quick. So that's what we try to do also in piaffe. This horse cannot do that, but bonfire fence, you could do like 10 different rhythms in the piaffe. You could go forward, not forward, you could go slow, you could go fast, you could go even faster. It was sometimes unbelievable how fast he could do a piaffe, and the same thing he was able to do in the passage. And that's very important for you also, that you can play with the rhythm of the movement of the horse. So in all the exercises that you do, walk, trot, canter, passage, piaffe, you should always be able to have the total speed control, but to have also rhythm control. So that you always are able to make the rhythm slower, quicker, almost normal, whatever normal is for, because it's for every horse different. Draai maar door, andere kant. Je zweep even erbij?
Ja.
Okay, go ahead. Not too much slack. Okay. En trot.
Ik sta niet zo goed.
Draf. piaffe, and then what we also do a lot as a preparing already, also for the transitions later, that we go from a forward, we have a piaffe, we go to a forward and a little bit quicker piaffe, and from there we try to go to the trot as quick as possible. So we try a couple of strides of passage, not too much, take it easy. But his passage is still too big, but he is very young and he's not balanced yet. So we don't do too much passage yet, but every now and then we let him get the taste a little bit of the passage. Okay?
For me it is.
You were saying to Anna, don't ride there because people don't see anything.
Just to get them curious. Now, you have to start somewhere, and I thought if it's really bad.
No excuses. Excuses won't be accepted.
And I better start it the other way. Now, it's bad.
Okay, just play a little bit with the passage and piaffe. Even if not everything is going to be 100%, it doesn't matter. But I mean, you can see already this horse has absolutely talent for passage and piaffe. Even if it's even it's not balanced yet, you can recognize already the talent. Okay, do again a little bit pied front, a little bit passage and piaffe still. You can change rein again a little bit. And go forward to trot.
Oh.
Sit light and give him rein. To trot, not passage, trot.
Yeah, but the passage feels much better. And then I'm on that side again.
It's easier to coach a horse than a woman. Especially if it's your own woman.
Daar, goed zo, sorry. Daar. Goed zo.
Okay, a little more, one more passage and piaffe, and then we show a couple of extended trots, and then it's finished. Sit quiet.
Nee, hier blijf. Nee, nee. Dat is waar. Oh.
So that's the advantage now, because he still has his turbo engine on. So you're more riding with the whole and quiet please, instead of that you have to push it forward. Okay, and back to trot, and the rein back eventually, and then you can do a couple of extended trots. If you need the rein back, you can use it. So let him do a couple of diagonals or straight lines in the extended, because you need a couple of halts because he will start running on you in the beginning.
I got a little seasick.
Okay, one more then. That's the punishment for talking. We let him make one more.
That's right.
You see, there's enough there from Gates. Okay, give him long rein and pat him and just keep trotting until he relaxes again. Okay, that was the end of the practical part.
All it leaves for me to say is how inspiring I found this particular horse. I think he's absolutely wonderful and really, really exciting to watch. He's a real Ferrari of a horse. And the other thing which was great to watch was to watch Anky and Sjef working together. I can tell you actually from experience, it's not always as funny as that, but it's always interesting. And what a great combination they are, which is why they are the best combination in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Anky and Sjef.